Welcome to the Neighbors Podcast. I'm your host, Allie Parsons, and today we have one of my favorite people, one of the most hilarious humans. His name is JereMiah Carr. He is affectionately known as Dozzy Daniel as a musical artist, but he is a worship leader, an artist, singer, songwriter, and just one of the most creative, confident people that I know, which is surprising to hear more about his story, which you'll hear in our conversation, that he wasn't always this confident. But he is just a picture of how he's embraced his season of being in his 30s, being single, being available, and just saying, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do with what you've given me? And he is just going for life. He does not sit by and wait for things to happen. He just grabs life by the reins and goes where the Lord is leading him. So whether you're in a season of singleness, whether you just find yourself at a time in life when you have more time, more space, more opportunity to listen to what the Lord is, I think this conversation is just going to encourage you and challenge you to just say yes to what the Lord has for you and then to just go for it. Him and I joke that we weren't even sure if we could have a serious conversation, and then he ends up crying in this episode talking about something from his childhood. So I feel really accomplished that we got there, but this is going to make you laugh, maybe going to make you cry, who knows, but I know you're going to get something from it. So here is my conversation with JereMiah Carr. Hello.
Hello. Hello. I'm gonna talk this low. Talk this low.
JereMiah, you're on the Neighbors Podcast. Yes, thank you. We are definitely not cutting that from the beginning. I'm putting your singing. Randomly breaks into song is an important part of your bio.
I do, honestly. I'll be doing
Welcome to the Neighbors Podcast. You have to do that every time.
Every time you say it.
We
You're supposed to
met.
actually say, hey, neighbor.
We met, 3 years ago now?
2019.
4 years ago. And from the moment we first hung out, we were like, we're the same person. I mean, obviously, we look a little bit different.
Just a little bit.
But
Not much.
we didn't, it would be, we are like kindred spirits.
I wore your pants the other day.
You literally the other day, you had on these pair of pants. I said, I own this. And the first time we met, you had on this oversized cardigan. I said, I own that cardigan.
I would imagine we have a lot of clothes that are.
Yeah.
Because I would wear those pants.
You'd wear these pants right now?
Absolutely.
I'd wear your pants.
And the boots. Yeah. Maybe not the jacket.
Well, you also have like 18 rings on right now for those of you that are listening. This is where we differ. Because
accessories.
I have,
like, there's some,
you accessorize like extreme.
But you have some nice earrings in.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. But yeah, you wear a ring on every finger, which is so
almost
extra.
1, 2, 3 are missing.
Your ring situation is a perfect reflection of who you are.
Because they're all so different.
They're all very different and
very eclectic.
Very loud.
I was doing that the other day. I was like, that's really nice.
Like thumb symbols. Okay. So I want to ask you this question.
Okay.
What is something you believe in or agree with that is like common unpopular opinion? Oh. So here, I'll give you some examples.
Okay.
Like beer tastes gross, or blue light glasses are fake news, or American football stupid. Like, what's something you believe in?
See, that's the thing. I don't believe in. That's the thing. I can say what I don't like. Things like 3D movies, I can't stand them. They don't make sense to me.
Who likes 3D movies?
A lot of people.
Really?
The people buy tickets to that. They will. they buy the tickets to go see that movie. And I can't.
That makes me sick.
And me too.
And I just don't want to wear someone else's glasses, plastic glasses for 2 hours.
Okay. Yeah, no, they make me dizzy. Well, now they upgraded them to like, now they like the hard plastic. They're not the paper. Remember the paper ones?
Yeah, the paper ones are jank. Okay, anything else other than 3D movies? Because I don't feel like 3D movies are like common.
That don't count. That is common. I used to. Okay, wait. I don't know if I can say that. Well, there was a point about a month ago that I said and I committed that I would not watch any more films with Keanu Reeves in it.
Why?
Because he cannot act.
You made a vow.
I said, I'm not watching nothing else that man is in. But then I heard he was really, really nice.
And you felt bad?
Not really. I like when people are nice.
But you're still not going to watch his movies?
No, I did. I watched, people was telling me about John Wick.
I haven't seen that. This was a couple months ago. You made this vow and you've already broken it?
No, I hadn't watched any films with him for years.
Years?
Yeah.
Out of sheer principle.
Because he can't act.
Okay.
To me.
That's probably an unpopular opinion.
It is?
Because there's a lot of Keanu Reeves fans.
That people think he can act?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And
I like him in John Wick because he don't say nothing. Am I allowed to say all of this?
We gotta cut. No. Okay, I'm so glad you're here. So you have a couple names. Your name is JereMiah, obviously, but you're affectionately known as Dozzy.
Yeah.
As your hat so conveniently says. People will link where you can buy this merch.
I know. People keep telling me I need to sell it.
I'm sure. It's very cool.
Oh, thanks.
So Dozzy is like your artist name, which we'll talk more about your music, of course. But where did the name Dozzy come from?
My grandma called me Dozzy. I was a 12th grandchild. I was born. I made it an even like 6 and 6. I was a 6th boy. So she said I was the dozen.
That is so cute.
And so she called me Duz or Duzzy.
But your Instagram is Dozzy Daniel.
Daniel is my middle name.
Okay. Your actual middle name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so Dozzy, she would call me Dozzy, and after she passed away, I didn't hear it that often. Like, I had some aunts, some cousins who still call me that, but I didn't hear it that often. And one of my, like, you said we'll talk about my music in a bit, but one of the points of why I do and pursue music is, and in the way that I do is, one of the things I want to do is extend myself to be familial and to be like, for folks to have access and feel like I'm family. So I invite people to be a part of my family by giving them
your family.
Yeah.
Wow, you're way more thoughtful than I thought you were.
Honestly,
here I am just thinking Dozzy's a cool name. Honestly,
no, people be thinking I'd just be doing stuff.
You also are just doing stuff. Okay, so you just turned 30.
I'm 32.
You're 32. Okay, so this has already been 2 years.
What
is time these days? I feel like you just went on this
the
big
pandemic.
30.
Honestly,
it warped things.
It did. Those 2 years don't count.
Don't count.
Okay.
So
I've been telling people, like, when they say like 5 years, I'd be like, shave off 2. It's 3.
Right, literally. Okay, so you are, I hope it's okay that I say this, but you are a single 32-year-old man.
Yes.
So slide into his DMs if you want, but
be careful.
And I think, a lot of people listening, they're probably in their 30s, single too. Mm-hmm. And I think you have a lot of wisdom and life to share about. And just like the way that you live your life, you waste nothing. Like, I mean, you were in town a month or so ago, and we tried to hang out with you. You were here from Thursday to Sunday in Florida. And we tried to hang out with you on Friday, and you said, no, sorry, I'm flying to New York Friday, be back Saturday to lead worship on Sunday. And that's just kind of like how you live your life. Mm-hmm. This is you. So when you turned 30, you kind of had a bit of a third life crisis. I don't know what you call that.
I like epiphany. Can we use it?
Epiphany, not a crisis. Yeah. Tell us about when you turned 30 and then what you have like set out to do in your 30s.
So, prior to 30, like I wanted to pursue music for a long time. I didn't think that I could. I didn't. When I first started in music, like I come from family of musicians, and I can get into that later. But I didn't think there was anything unique or special about what I do. So I picked up playing baritone, which is unique because most people don't even know what that is.
I was going to say, can you, for those of us, I obviously know what it is.
You do?
But for those of us that don't, listening, can you explain what the baritone is?
Baritone is just, I mean, it's pretty much, it looks like a small tuba. It resembles a tuba,
Okay.
but it's smaller. It's the same voicing and voice part is trombone.
Okay.
But it's got the kind of like the texture of a French horn.
Oh.
So it's very mellow, smooth, very warm, which is why I think kind of like my voice, like it kind of matches.
So you only picked that up?
I picked it up. So I picked it up when I was in 4th or 5th grade.
Okay.
And it was all that they had left. And I didn't know what it was, so I just marked that I wanted to play that. I was like, I don't want to play tuba because that's going to be too big. Let's do baritone.
That's way too heavy.
Way too heavy. Meanwhile, I was a runt. Like, I was really, really little. I'm not that tall now, but I was much smaller, obviously. And I used to have to wheel around the baritone on a cart.
No.
Because it was too heavy for me
to take
through the school. Like, I would be leaning, trying to carry it. And so my band teacher helped me get a cart, and I would bungee cord it to the cart and walk around.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you picked up baritone.
So I picked up baritone, started playing, and fell in love with it. I played it. I wanted to play it. Like, I mean, that was what I did. I played in orchestra. I conducted in concerts. I wanted to pursue music, and from an educational standpoint, but I also was like really interested in performance. So I just wanted to play. That was all. Like, I had aspirations of joining the Army. Imagine me.
I'm sorry, what?
Because I wanted to be in the President's Own. Like, I wanted to be like
in one
what? Of the President's Own. It's like one of the most prestigious like
music things.
Yeah, bands, orchestras, and at the time that's what I knew of, that to be one of the most prestigious.
You're wearing these white frame glasses with yellow lenses, and I'm just trying to picture you in the Army.
Aren't we glad that didn't happen?
Your creative expression would have been so squashed.
God, squashed, squandered, wasted.
Squandered, wasted.
That we could call a waste.
We could.
No, yeah, but I played, and then I picked up singing in high school. It was something that I wanted to do, or rather that I enjoyed doing. My mom says that I used to do it at 5 a.m. every morning at the top of my lungs. I don't believe her, but I have like slight recollection.
Yeah, we all believe her.
Everybody. Yeah, she said I used to do that. I used to sing at the top of my lungs, and I didn't think it was anything. And then my grandfather invited me one day while we were at church to sing. He just called me on stage. He's like, "Get up here." And we're at church. And after that, I was like, I think I like this. This is fun. And I did this dance trying to figure out which one I wanted to do. And I still loved playing more than I did singing. But, I mean, as time went on, I just appreciated singing much more. Like, I felt like it was a better representation of captivating and capturing, like, what I wanted to say. Because I could write. I could communicate everything. So, all that said, all through my 20s, it was this journey of like being afraid of pursuing that, for fear of what people would say, what my parents would say, even though they support me, and my family. Like, just I didn't want to wear other people's expectations of what I should do, and through your 20s, you kind of find out that those things are irrelevant, and they don't make you. And so the most important voice that I wanted to prioritize was that of the Lord's. And like turning 30 just kind of like really solidified that for me. I was like, oh yeah.
So do you feel like your confidence changed, or just where it was placed changed?
Very good. I think both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think both. I think because of where it was placed, naturally it just kind of shifts. Because I'm just like, I don't got to worry about these other people. And it's something about walking around with a godly confidence that just like, I'd be like, I'm worried about what? For what?
Right.
For who?
If we believed in the Enneagram still, because I know it's a little dicey out there now.
Everything is dicey.
But you and I are both 3s on the Enneagram, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was like the first thing we bonded over. It was like you look surprised.
Yeah, I forgot you were. Are you wing 4?
Yeah.
The jacket
If I
says,
believed
the
in
jacket says so.
If I believed in the Enneagram still.
Yeah.
But a huge shadow of our personality is people pleasing. And so what I hear you saying too is that God kind of broke you of living for man's approval.
Yeah.
Which is such a beautiful thing. And I think so many people struggle with that. I mean, even people without our personalities, everyone wants people to love them. But what is it like, what can people do to help break that need or desire for man's approval?
Well, Dr./Pastor Brian Loritz talked about it last night at Saturated. Shout out Saturated.
Shout out.
About the importance of finding our identity in the Lord. I mean, that in and of itself is just enough. Like, the things of this world don't make us who we are. The Lord has made us already and has already, like, said who we were, who we are. He already established that. And it's a matter of, like, it's the application of that, like what he says, washing yourself with his word, the truth of it, who he says we are. Growing up, I didn't think that the Lord called me that I was beautiful, and that's kind of like my story of just even how I came into the faith and just like believing that Christ died for me. I believed in the gospel. I just didn't know that it was for me. I knew that I was like, oh yeah, he did that for everybody else and that he's able to do that for everybody else. I just didn't know that I had access to it.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, so you get to 30. So one thing I love about sanctification is we shed things and we gain things.
Yeah.
So you shed this people-pleasing, what are people going to think of me, expectations, and then you decide to put on some new things. So what did you enter, and what are you hoping for your 30s? What are you putting on?
I believe, and I said this before, I believe that the Lord like is allowing this to be like a decade of discovery for me. I prayed. I spent some time, I literally randomly booked a one-way flight to Africa. I was like, I ain't coming back. And
wow.
Yeah.
Bold.
It's very bold. But I was like, I need it. I need it for myself. I called it a 30 for 30. It was my 30 days to reflect on, like, reflect, plan, and pray.
Very cool.
And so I spent a lot of time praying, like, Lord, I really want this to be a time that, like, this next decade where I can be, you know, where you can remove, and I asked that the Lord would remove expectations that I was wearing of other people, and that he would strip me of those, and that I could pursue the things that I know he's called me to, and that he's like, not just called me to, but that he's also equipped me for. And I think that's the other part that I'm grateful for, is that, like, part of that putting away is just like the recognizing and acknowledgement of, like, okay, you have equip me for this. You called me to this. I don't have everything yet. And that's where he comes in.
Sure.
Which is cool.
So being single in this season plays a part in it too. How do you feel like that? How do you feel like you can leverage this season of singleness for what you're talking about, like for what God has laid in front of you?
I think I've just been trying to, like, just take advantage, if I can say that, of the time that I have, and plan well for whatever is to come. But mostly, like, the traveling and stuff like that. Like, I do like travel. I think oftentimes one of the things that I used to want to wear, in terms of expectations, is other people's expectations of what my threshold and capacity was. And I listened to people saying, oh, you're too busy, or you're doing too this, or it's too that. When are you going to settle down? When are you? And I'm like, my soul is settled. Like, I have a home, and the Lord continues to provide. Like that what's more settling than being in the Lord? Like I don't and I think what people mean is like, when are you gonna have kids? When are you gonna have a family? When are you gonna have these things? And I'm like, well, your timing is not the Lord's. Mine is not the Lord. So like I can plan for those things, but if the Lord hasn't like allowed for those things, and that's not to say that I'm not open to them, but I'm just like, you are basing your expectations off of your minute vantage point that you have. You don't see the full scope of what the Lord is actually doing or what his plan is. And I used to like listen to that of other people. And once I like let go of that, I was just like, I'm just going to go. I'm going to move around. Travel is not something that I don't enjoy. I enjoy it. And I hope that I can find a companion to do that with. And I believe that the Lord, because of what I'm doing and because of what I do and the ease that I do it with, I'm like, the Lord will send somebody
For sure.
who's able to do that with me, because I find joy in it and I find him in it as well. Like, yeah.
That's so powerful to say, because we have this unspoken, oftentimes very much spoken expectation of people, like, when are you going to settle down? And what you said was, my soul is settled. So why would I not just go right now? Why would I not leverage this season of true freedom to just do everything the Lord's called me to? That is so powerful, because you are someone who lives with, like, sure, a desire to be married and have a family, but you just take life by the reins right now and you just go for it. And you're not holding back because of your relationship status, which I think is so powerful and I think will encourage so many people listening.
I studied Ecclesiastes while I was away in Africa. And I think that was one of the things that helped free me and helped me to realize, I'm like, this time is not guaranteed. And how arrogant of me to think that tomorrow is coming for me. And I'm like, I want to leave empty.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about music, because this is so much of who you are. Nobody would be surprised if you grabbed the mic and got up and started jumping around.
Am I loud?
No.
Okay.
You are both a worship leader and singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
And two sides of the same coin, but as a worship leader, so this is how we met. You came and started leading worship at our church, and it's just incredible to be led by worship by you. You are one of the most electric worship leaders that I've ever sat under, and it's just, it's just, you just look at you and you're like, that guy loves the Lord, and his cardio is 10 out of 10. Because you're just running back and forth across the stage. But tell us what does worship do to you? Like, why do you dance and jump the way that you do all around the stage? Because I want people to know, A, it's authentic, and B, I want them to feel inspired to express themselves in worship. So tell us about why you do the things that you do.
Wow.
Why you lead the way you lead.
I feel like people don't really ask me that often. Like, why? They normally just have an idea of what I should be doing and not ask me why I do.
Woof.
Oof. You want me to cry?
Yes.
Oh God. That's what I'm like. That's why you asked that question. All throughout my childhood, I struggled with rejection. And like I said, part of my, like, actually embracing the faith was the reality that it was for me. I saw so many things change for other people, and I didn't think I was desired or wanted by my family, by friends. I struggled a long time trying to fit in with people, and coming to know that that I was accepted and that I was loved, if by no one else, that the Lord, and I mean, that's more than anybody could ask for, that he loved me, that he saw me, that he made me, and that I'm his, and that despite what I do or don't do or whatever the case, like, he continues to welcome me back. And like, it just kind of, it stirs a fire of like just passion for, I remembered when I felt small, and the Lord said, I didn't make you that way. And I said, okay. And I mean, I've always been very expressive. My mom said when I was a kid, I used to shout and like take praise breaks in the store parking lot.
Oh my gosh.
She'd be like, stop doing that. These people are going to think we're crazy. And yeah, like I've always been, that's since I was a kid, before I could even remember doing it. I've always done that. But so I think it was just something that the Lord was like, I'm going to use this at some point. He don't know how or why, but I made him this way to dance. I've made him to sing. I've made him to run. And I was doing that at 4, 5, and I'm 32. Like, not knowing that was like the shell. Like, because at that point, that's all I was just like flesh. I was shell that he would later infuse himself in, like pour inside of me, only for that passion to be that much more real and authentic.
It reminds me of David in the Bible. Like, when he's a kid, he's in the field tending to sheep, learning how to use a slingshot, and he has no idea why. And then 10 years later, God puts him in a situation, and it all makes sense.
Yep.
And I love hearing people's stories. And I actually just read a book recently that said to start praying that God would bring memories to mind from your childhood to show you like what he was calling you to right now.
Yes.
And that reminds me so much of it, that he would show you, remember when you were running around like a fool in the store parking lot?
And my mom said, they're going to think you crazy.
And you felt too much and like you didn't know how to express yourself, but you just knew it was in there. And then to look at you now, it just makes so much sense. It's so beautiful that God was growing that in you.
Because the people still be looking like,
some of the people do look at you.
He crazy. And I am.
And you embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am crazy.
That's so powerful. And I mean, I experienced such a similar thing growing up. I felt just too much and too loud, and I have this raspy voice, just too much in so many ways.
I wish you could sing. I really do.
And me too. and then it's just so funny now to look back and see that God now is using my voice. I mean, you look at this podcast or just in other ways in my life of communication and storytelling, and you just think, God, you knew all along. All along. And I was so wrapped up in my small vantage point, like you talked about earlier, that I just couldn't see the whole picture. And
that's why I'm in a space where I'm just like, you don't know. Folks live in so much fear of trying to plan apart from I don't know. I think there's so much freedom in planning and surrendering. Like those plans, and then just walking.
Yes.
Like I've said before, like I try things because I trust the Lord. Like I just try because I trust. Because it's like if he is who he says he is, and if his character is true and consistent, then that means that the truth of his sovereignty will manifest. The truth of his grace will extend. Like his hand and his arm reaches beyond anywhere I can walk.
Yes.
And I think we forget that.
For sure.
Like we make him so small. The God of the universe. Like we're not talking about the God of earth. The universe.
Yes.
And I think people they be thinking he like small. They really do. I told you I was gonna
Yeah.
use little words. They think he's little.
Yes.
And he's not.
No.
And I don't know. I actually believe that, and so I just walk in it. I don't I don't know how else to
I
explain
love
it.
that. Plan and then surrender your plans. That's so powerful.
And it's hard because you want to be in control of everything.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when you realize that you can't, like, I can't even control waking up. Okay.
Right.
Then at that point it's like
Being alive.
my breath, breathing.
Right.
I can't control any of that. So there's so much outside of our control.
That's so good. All right. So you're an amazing worship leader and your heart for leading the people, it's just incredible. And you also write music and you are a musical artist. Where did you fall in love with music? Like, what is it about music that just kept you coming back? I mean, you mentioned it goes back to your family and stuff, but
Yeah.
like, what is it about music that just draws you in?
I mean, the fact that it's just an expression, simply. Like, it can be big, it can be small, it can be colorful, it can be all these things, and I'm like, I feel like it captures so many different iterations of who I am. I'm like, I like that. I like that part. I like that I get to use it, and then I'm also like a firm believer that, as well as like we can talk about like mental health and all these things, and we talk about traumas being passed down, habits and traits and different things being passed down. I think talents and skills that have been acquired over time are also passed down because it's I don't know, I think it's just the way that the Lord has wired and created us. And so my family, through our bloodline, like consistently, musicians after musician after musician has come through. And so I remember growing up having like family gatherings where we would sing, when we would play. Like that was normal for us to have Thanksgiving dinner, and then my cousin or my aunt go sit on the organ, and then we would just start singing.
Oh, I want to come to your Thanksgiving dinner.
That was normal, but the reason I'm so like passionate about my artistry has much to do with my family, but specifically my grandfather's. So I didn't know my dad's dad. He was a blues singer. His name was James Carr. He was kind of a big deal, and he toured. He was signed to a couple different labels. He toured around London, the U.S. a little bit, and Japan. And after him, we didn't really have any other artists. Like he was the kind of the last one to like be an artist on that side of my family. And I believe that the enemy wanted to stop that and shut that up. My grandfather's experience as an artist wasn't the healthiest. He didn't have really great relationship with his labels, management, all those things. He fell into different extracurricular activities, which was common in that era,
Sure.
Especially in that genre. And so I believe it like set this dark cloud
Tainted it a bit.
And it tainted both my family's perspective and even mine. And so like I didn't believe that I could do anything outside of gospel music or worship music. And so I think the Lord has like given me opportunity and even set me on mission to help to restore that for my family and reclaim the gift of song for us. And it's something that I've been pursuing very, very hard and very passionately, because generations that will come after me need to know.
Yes.
And we need, like, I went and I was in Savannah, Georgia the last time I was here. I stopped through Savannah and went to, I forget the full name, it was the Owens House. And they were talking about the home that I toured. It was a historic home. 3 generations of the family came through this house. And I was like, wow, it's so interesting. And the tour guide says, all the men that came through here were lawyers and attorneys. And I was like, that's also interesting. But it's not like, that can be coincidental. Like,
Right.
they want to follow in footsteps. And for me not having the mentorship of my grandfather, I hope that I can uncover, discover, find out even, ideas of what his journey was so that it can inform mine and further inform folks who come after me.
I love that because I think we do as a culture tend to focus more on like generational traumas or
Yep.
the shadows that have
The
been passed down.
yeah,
Unhealthy cycles,
Yep.
all of this, which those things are good to acknowledge. But there is something to be said about generational talent and like what your family legacy is known for and how you can keep passing that down because it's so beautiful. And in a world of so much information and technology and Google right at our fingertips, there's also something so pure about like you teaching a grandchild how to play the baritone.
Yeah.
Or, like passing that love for music down. There's just something so powerful in that. And I think if our generation can figure out how to reclaim that, I think it would set up the future generations in such a beautiful way.
And I think also for a while I didn't know how godly that was or how how Christ-centered that was, that I would want my family whole and healthy. And
to redeem
what
the shadows of what happened.
Because I was like, oh yeah, if I'm not doing it in church, then that means it's not godly or it's not this. And because I have been conditioned that way, and I'm like, that's not true.
No.
Again,
people will be surprised when they hear your music. It's very different than how you lead worship.
It's very different.
It's very chill.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Where can they find your music for those listening?
On all streaming platforms. Spotify, iTunes. Dozzy Daniel, Dozzy Daniel. Dozzy Daniel. And I'm working on stuff now.
I was gonna say, what do you have cooking?
Ooh, a couple steaks. I got it's some meaty stuff. Yeah, it's good. I'm excited because I've been really, really busy this year, even last year, and so it's nice to be in a space where I can like take time to figure out what is next. And like I'm writing right now. It'll incorporate some of my grandfather's stuff, which I try to do that and honor him in that way, like I did that with my EP. But this time I want to do some different things and honor him in a really special way, but also still writing my own stuff. I love different genres. I love, what I've realized and even just started to become okay with is that I don't listen to music like everybody. I have a very wide range of things that I listen to and can listen to because I think I've been able to like somehow listen with an artistic like
you can appreciate several different genres.
And not to say that those things don't influence or aren't powerful to do that, but they also inspire me to just think musically and creatively in different ways. And so most of the time when I'm listening to music, I'm listening to, I'll listen to the words, sure, but I just be like, wow, did you hear that? Or I like the way they married this and put this. Yeah, so I mean, I'm always interested to try different things. New sounds.
I love that.
And that's even with my voice, traditionally within the Black church, you had a lot of people coming out of church who could do a lot of runs and riffs and different things like that. And I'm like, oh, I can't do that.
Okay.
No, I'm not. So I can compare myself. I can name 4 singers right now who are churchy singers or who sing in church, and I don't sound like them. My style is very unique in that I've incorporated different sounds and styles to make me.
You're so unique.
Thanks.
Okay, last question. Can you believe it? We're out of time.
Are we?
We are.
Okay.
Last question for fun. What are you loving right now other than rings on your fingers.
How did you guys say my pants?
Or your pants. We had
What
several
am I
pants
loving
options.
Right now? We did have several pants options. I'm loving, I think, time, space. I'm enjoying that. I said something else that I was loving. I just can't remember what it was.
Probably some food. Everyone always puts some
Oh,
food.
It was food
What was
related.
it?
So I did a fruit fast recently.
A fruit fast.
Fruit fast.
Where all you ate was fruit?
And vegetables.
That's terrible.
No.
Yeah, it's
It
terrible.
was so good. So I'm loving eating healthy is what it is. Because of my travel, I'm always eating terribly. Even this week has been horrible. I said, this morning I said, let me make an egg, get some toast, with some avocado, give me some fruit. And so like from that, I started gaining weight. I just wasn't as limber. Like, imagine me not limber.
Yeah,
Right. I gotta run around.
I know.
So I had been hearing folks talk about a fruit fast. And like, oh yeah, or I'm just eating fruit. And I'm like, that's disgusting. Why would you do that to yourself? And then they were just talking about how beneficial it was. But then my body was like doing a weird thing when I got back home after some, extensive travel. And it was just weird. And I was like, I think I need to do like a little cleanse.
A little reset.
And
What's wrong with a little reset?
Ain't nothing wrong with a little reset. I did some fruit and vegetables for 4 days straight. The first 2 days was rough on me. Let me tell you.
I was about to say, you in that bathroom were
good
friends.
Oh, God. I was like, why? Why did I do this? They said, because everybody was like, oh, yeah, you're going to feel great. I said, why y'all ain't talk about this part? No one, out of all the videos and things that I was seeing, I saw one girl sitting poolside, like eating fruit, and she was like, day 2. I said, you lying.
Liar. There's a porta potty like right out of view.
You're lying. No. And so after I got over day 3, I said, because what happened was I live in a loft and I have a staircase, and I walked down the stairs with such ease. When you start doing it, I said, ooh, you in your 30s when you start doing that. When you start feeling a difference.
When you're excited to walk downstairs with ease.
When I tell you my knees, I said, I was literally running. No lie. I live by myself. I was literally running up and down the stairs just because. Because I was like, I think I left something upstairs. No, it's downstairs. It's upstairs. It's upstairs.
Absurd.
And after that, like, I've been obsessed with like eating healthy, and in a week's time, I lost nearly 15 pounds.
That's not healthy.
I know. I was like, should I be
That's
hospitalized?
Too much.
No, I think it was a lot of water weight. I was bloated significantly.
We're getting way out of hand here.
Oh.
We are not
I forgot we can't edit this.
Nutritionists or dietitians, and nobody should copy.
No, please don't follow this. But I will say, because my parents definitely tried to the following week. Meanwhile, my dad is calling me, asking me, he's eating veggie straws. Can I eat these? No, you cannot eat veggie straws.
Veggie straws.
Can I have apples and peanut butter? No.
Yes.
You can have apples. You cannot have peanut butter.
JereMiah, we love you. Thanks for being here. You're the best. Goodbye, Neighbors. Neighbors is produced by Logger Creative and Taylor Minning. Music by Austin and Lindsay Adamak. Artwork by Wesley Parsons. And motion graphics by Robbie Burns.
Living to love life. Living to love life. You have loved me. You show me brighter days. New mercies every morning. You never shy away to tell me that you're for me. How could I repay this? Whatever can I do but offer up this life like there's nothing left to lose? I'm living